Bitcoin has quietly done something which is actually quite a big deal, and I'm going to be breaking it down for you in this YouTube video, and it all comes down to this beautiful little pump that we've seen here on this chart. It's the first real pump that we've actually seen on the chart basically since this massive spike at the end of August, and if we measure it from low to high, Bitcoin has managed to move up by 6.6%, and in these areas of incredibly low volatility, trust me, you take what you get. That is a good thing. But here's what's better. Here's where this actually gets really interesting. If we actually take a look at the low that we set, this is actually something that I was talking to you guys about a lot on this YouTube channel, where I was saying, you know, I'm still bullish. I kind of have to be, right? I mean, you guys know my take on that. I've been very, very vocal about it. I've made an incredibly large amount of profit being on the long side throughout the course of this year. And that hasn't changed because the trend hasn't changed. I was talking to you guys about how, you know, the 25K level is still holding. And even with this drop, which, you know, I mean, by the way, this line is not a new line. This is just smack bang on the 25K level. Even with this drop, Bitcoin remains above that $25,000 area of support. I've been here as the voice of reason, telling you guys that, you know, at the moment, even though things don't look good, it's true, the short-term chart just doesn't look amazing. At the moment, we still haven't broken the trend. We still haven't set a new lower low. And that's really important because while everybody else and their grandmothers are losing their minds, panicking, getting super worried about what's going on in the market, you and I are keeping ourselves very level. We're not getting carried away with the excitement. We're not getting carried away with the fear. We're keeping ourselves very level and understanding that, yeah, things aren't looking amazing. Sure, that's where the money is made, obviously, and we still haven't broken the trend. So here's what we did do. These wicks were really important. These wicks that Bitcoin was setting over here over the course of basically the last kind of 6 weeks now. Wow, maybe a little bit less than that actually. 5 weeks, and you know, we've been punching in these wicks, these lows right here. And what Bitcoin did yesterday was very interesting. Bitcoin actually fell all the way down below all of these wicks, essentially to capture a little bit of liquidity as far as I'm seeing. And this is really quite interesting because you can see open interest is finally starting to take a bit of a peak up. Longs are finally starting to come into the market a little bit as well. We're not going to focus on this too much, but what I really like about this is that it is it was a chance for, you know, stop losses, any stop losses that were below these wicks to be eaten and taken out. Now, how many of those stop losses were taken out? Admittedly, not very many. We didn't see open interest massively drop down. We didn't really even see it drop down at all. So it didn't quite serve as that liquidity hunt that we were looking for, which begs the question, well, are we going to go down again? Definitely possible, and I'll get to that in just a second, so bear with me if you are super excited for it. Do me a favor and smash up the likes if you are excited for that as well. But, you know, what we do have now is, yeah, a very clear instance of these lows being swept and then the market kind of moving to the upside. And this is important. This is important for one really big reason, and it's the same thing that we've been talking about consistently on this YouTube channel, which is that I cannot seem to get away from people who think that the market is very bearish right now. Fucking everybody that I speak to, including people that I don't want to speak to, are telling me that this market is very bearish right now. And to me, that's really interesting because, again, my case has been exactly the same for an incredibly long period of time. And again, that's how I've been able to make these profits. You know, I'm staying consistent with what I'm believing here, and my capital is showing you the same thing. I also ripped another beautiful trade right here on Tron. I'm sitting in something like $20,000 in profit. Might be a little bit less than that right now. This was shared on my Twitter page. If you want to check it out, you can use the link in the description right here. And of course, both of those trades, like I said, were made on Bybit. Go ahead and check it out with the link in the description down below. You're getting up to $30,000 in completely free trading money. That's money that they give you to trade with, and any profits you generate with that cash are yours to keep. You can withdraw it. It is a crazy offer. They're the best exchange in the game. You already know the deal. I've been working with them for years, and I've been using them since before all of that as well, because they are just simply providing the best platform in crypto. So definitely well worth checking out. This link gives you 0% spot trading fees, meaning if you're just trading Bitcoin normally, you're not doing anything with leverage, you're not doing anything crazy, you're trading any altcoins, whatever you like, you don't pay any fees, literally completely free of charge. That's pretty rare. So go ahead and check that out if you are interested with that link down below. You know, what we have been seeing here, you know, is that, you know, the consistency of just understanding that You know, while everybody else is just constantly kind of moving, you know, left and right, up and down, whatever, you know, the market hasn't actually changed that much. And I can demonstrate this to you very clearly if we take a look at Bitcoin on this longer term outlook right here. You know, and again, it's the same thing I've said before, because the same thing applies. We're going to cover this quickly, and I'm going to move on to some new points that I haven't covered with you yet, which is that Bitcoin set a low right here at about 15,600 and then more than doubled it, and now it's retraced down by 20%. So from our low to our current price, we're still up by 61%. This is a really big deal. If any market moves up by 61%, and by the way, if we actually stay above this line for, I mean, now it's been 6 fucking months, guys. I mean, you know, I understand why you would say the market is bearish, and I agree, and I've been saying that for many, many weeks. But at the same time, we doubled from the low, and now we've been stable above this area of support for 6 months. Like, how long are you going to be bearish for, bro? Like, we haven't broken down yet. Granted, we certainly look like we might, but here's where things get a little bit more interesting. This is actually down to, you know, what I wanted to talk to you about with the more immediate price action today, you know, and over these last few, you know, hours in this market, you know, we have now tested the downside, and that's really important. You know, like I said, it would have been nice to go a little bit lower. You know, you would ideally want to see, you know, the 23, 24 kind of K range, something around here, a little bit lower. Yes, sure, we didn't drop quite as low as we could have, and we've seen that, you know, it didn't really have a massive effect anyway on the leverage positions, although it certainly would have stopped quite a few people out anyway, because we fell below these wicks, so that's obvious. You know, but what we have done here is we have tested the low, and if we actually were going to go down, you know, even lower than this, we would have done it on this move right here, and that's why Bitcoin immediately started to move to the upside after this dump happened. All right, when you test the low, when you sweep these lows, and if it's not successful, and in this case it clearly wasn't successful because we didn't drop lower, well, then you're going to start testing the upside again. And this is where it gets really interesting now, because with this recent price action, we've now actually put ourselves above this entire block of resistance that Bitcoin was facing previously. When we fell below this area, of course, this was going to turn into resistance, and it was. Bitcoin was facing resistance at this range, but only for a short period of time, only a matter of hours, and then Bitcoin managed to pump up a little bit higher. We've now, of course, got this block of resistance right here, which we're basically in right now. We're finding a little bit of support in it. We managed to pump up above this area, and now if you look at where we are right now, we are basically right back here finding support. So this means one of two things. Number one, what this means is that we're back in the middle. We're back in the range. Nothing has changed. We've tested the low, we've tested the high, and now we're back in the equilibrium. Quite likely that that is the case. I know it's kind of boring. I know it's kind of annoying to hear that, but I'm being real with you guys. This is what you come here for. Smash up the likes if you appreciate it. That's probably what we're looking at. We're just sideways. The second thing that this could mean, and this is a little bit more exciting, and as time goes on, this becomes more and more likely, because you can't stay sideways forever. Apparently you can. The second thing that this means is that Bitcoin is now getting ready to mount another attack to the upside. See, we tried on the upside over here, it didn't work out. We tried to the downside, and it worked out even less. I mean, look at the range. We deviated from the range up by 7%. Over here, we deviated down below the range by 3%. It's very clear that there's more bullish momentum than there is bearish momentum right now. We're just punching higher, all right? We pushed up 6% right here. It's not a small move compared to what Bitcoin usually does. Even if we measure this from the high to the low, Bitcoin still only dropped by 4%. Meanwhile, we're rising up by 6.5%. There is something here. Bitcoin is looking like it's got a little bit more strength here, and this could, if we do something about it quickly, which means basically today, tomorrow, no later than that, this could be one of those opportunities for Bitcoin to really start to continue that trend up right now, especially considering that we have found ourselves above all of this support and finding support right here as well. There is a lot going for Bitcoin right now, more than we've seen for Bitcoin in the last few weeks, and that to me tells me that we are in a potential opportunity for Bitcoin to pull off a nice little breakout here. So we're going to need to break some of our resistance levels if this thing does turn into something exciting. And this is what I want to cover with you guys next. We're going to come back to this main chart that I've been using with you all. And I want to talk to you a little bit about where these resistance levels are before I talk to you about Tron. This has been really interesting. I actually entered a trade based off Tron. There haven't been an abundance of opportunities in the market recently. I picked my shots incredibly carefully. And this is a trade that I entered basically just last night, which has done beautifully. I entered in this this green box, and of course the rest was history here. I've already made like more than 60% profit. Absolutely amazing. And I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about that later on in this video. Like I said, if you just want to buy things like Tron, you don't even pay any fees when you use Bybit, and if you want to trade the way I'm trading, they are going to give you up to $30,000 in completely free trading capital. All you need to do is sign up and deposit and start trading. Once you've started to trade on Bybit, they are going to give you free money to trade with, in addition to what you've already deposited, which is absolutely fucking crazy. I mean, up to 30K is insane. Just for reference, I put in about half of this amount in my Tron trade, and I've already made, as you can see in the screenshots, I've already made like $20,000. So with the free money they've given you, if I traded with that free money, I'd still be in a $10,000 profit just using free money that Bybit gave me, and I could actually withdraw that, which is quite crazy. So well worth checking out there. But before we do get onto that, let's look at Bitcoin a little bit closer, and look at where this resistance lies for Bitcoin. So, if we take a slightly more zoomed out approach, we can start to understand that, I mean, we've had some areas that have provided some problems for Bitcoin over these last months. They kind of, I think the best area to demonstrate this is just going to be this kind of 26.7K area. We found a lot of support here. We found a lot of resistance here, and that has continued over into August and potentially could be a factor now in September as well. I am not expecting this area of resistance to break quickly, but what's worth noting is that we have been stuck more or less below it now for 25 days. And, we don't typically, I mean, it's not the strongest area of resistance in the world. Here we fell below this area very, very quickly. And, we ping-ponged around this area a lot over the course of 40 days. I mean, the amount of times that Bitcoin went below and then found a little bit of resistance and then found some support and then more resistance and then more resistance and then more support. It's a very fluid area of resistance, and we haven't actually seen that yet, which to me, tells me that even though I'm not necessarily expecting, like a straight moonshot above this area of resistance, if we do get there, something a little bit like this, honestly, a fairly quick breakout is looking likely to me now, simply because it's not a strong area of resistance. I've shown UI just a few seconds ago, and we haven't been able to break above it in any real way for 25 days, for a month, and considering that it's not really that strong of an area of resistance, well, how realistically, how long are we going to be stuck below it? I don't think it's going to be too long. So that's something which I'm liking. Obviously, the bad news for Bitcoin is that if we do zoom out just a tad more, once we break that area of resistance, assuming we do, because nothing is guaranteed, that's when we hit the big block. And this is the block of resistance that I was warning you guys about heavily. It's why, when Bitcoin went up here, I didn't even bother making a video, because I kind of knew that this was an area of resistance and there was no point getting excited over this pump. Obviously, everybody else did, but that's why you're here. We're not getting excited over bullshit. We're not getting excited over anything, actually. That's kind of the point of being a trader. You're not meant to get excited. If you get excited, you're way too emotionally attached and you will lose money. But this area of resistance is formidable. It's heavy. It served as resistance for Bitcoin when we were much more bullish than we are right now for a whole 3 weeks. And we're just not as strong today as we were back here, considering we had that massive retest off 20K, and so I'm not expecting miracles to happen if we get to this area of resistance, but this is basically our last kind of final frontier before we are able to pump up significantly higher. We've got this final 28.5K area of resistance right here on the chart. If we're able to break above that, and this green box, honestly, I could just stretch it all the way up to that line and it would still be just as valid. This whole block of resistance, if we're able to get above it, it's a straight moonshot up to 32, 31. I know that it doesn't sound very realistic right now. You don't really even want to entertain these kind of ideas right now, but that's almost why I think it's important to do exactly that. One of the key things I've been talking to you guys about on this YouTube channel for quite some time is the dollar, and obviously the impact that the dollar might have on the market. And again, we can see the same thing kind of starting to play out right now, where the dollar has seen a bit of a pullback, basically just over the last 2 days, and Bitcoin has seen a pump, during this very, very similar time frame. So, if you were watching my most recent video, that is exactly what I was talking to you about on this YouTube channel. That's exactly what I said might happen, is that, you know, the dollar is quite high, the dollar is potentially a little bit overextended, it might need to pull back a little bit, and if it does, Bitcoin could see a little bit of sunshine. So it's beautiful. That is working out very, very well. If we take a look at the S&P 500, we're seeing even more consolidation on the S&P 500 chart here, which is absolutely great. That's exactly what we're looking for. I want to remind you guys that I am interested in trading the S&P 500. I've already outlined a trade for that as well. And that is something which I'm going to be trading on BingX right here with the link in the description below. That's over $100,000 in bonuses for you to go ahead and check it out as well, which is, again, just absolutely crazy. Just by watching this YouTube channel, you're getting so much free shit, which is very, very cool. So the S&P 500 tradable on BingX, in addition to, you know, a bunch of other crazy things. You've got Tesla, Apple, Meta, Google, Amazon. It's crazy. You can trade all of these stocks as well, just with a Bitcoin exchange, which is very, very cool indeed. I'm not going to do that right now. How do I come back to normal trading view? And let me just bring the chart back on here. And so if we do take a look at the dollar and what's going on with the dollar, you know, we are now in a situation where this is so zoomed in. Let me zoom out one sec. I don't know what the actual size is here. One sec. Let me just fix this. There we go. You know, we are now in a situation where, you know, we've already started to pull back a little bit. Is this a consolidation before the dollar rips again? Something a little bit like this, very possible. Or is this, you know, basically the beginning of the end where the dollar starts trending down, at least for the short to mid-term? I think that's more likely. You know, to be honest, I think that's what we are looking at. I don't really see why the dollar even got this high in the first place. It swept the previous high, hasn't necessarily done anything spectacular. You know, even saying that, you know, bottom line, I do still think that the dollar is in trouble on a long-term scale and potentially even on a short-term scale as well. You know, we've also been paying attention to oil, obviously, because we pay attention to things that impact our trades, and oil is not slowing down. You know, oil is continuing to ramp up. You know, which is always just going to result in a weaker economy across the board. So, you know, I mean, I have to expect that the dollar, you know, continues to pull back a little bit lower. It's still early days. I'm not, you know, I don't want to attach too much certainty to it, but at the same time, I can't really see it, you know, continuing to rise up just for now. You know, at least some sort of pullback down to levels like around here and then continue up. That would make a lot more sense. But it is really important, and I said this last time, it is really important to keep in mind that the dollar is not a stock, the dollar is not Bitcoin or anything that we usually trade, so it doesn't necessarily have to form pullbacks, okay? It can just keep going up in straight lines. It's, you know, very political, you know, so it's subject to a lot more manipulation as a result of that. So please do keep that in mind. You know, we're not necessarily trying to chart this, but, you know, it is also true that when the dollar has big runs, it certainly does form pullbacks, and it's very normal for the dollar to do that. And I just don't think that we've seen any, you know, real pullback, you know, kind of relative to the size of this rally so far. I just don't think that we've quite seen that yet. So, you know, that's something which I am kind of keeping an eye on, and making sure that, you know, I don't get caught off guard by a little drop in the dollar, and of course, you know, the impact that could have on Bitcoin as well. So here's something really interesting to do with Tron. I'm going to come back to Bitcoin a little bit later on in this video, so stick around for that. But you know, with regards to Tron, what we've ended up seeing here was a really nice easy support flip, and I do want to let you guys know that this is a trade that I shared inside of VIP. VIP is now 50% off as of today for a limited time, so go ahead and check it out if you are interested. You're getting half price on everything in VIP right now. That is the group where I'm basically telling you everything about all of my analysis. You think these YouTube videos are good, wait until you see what's inside of VIP. And of course, the other side of my analysis, which is the trading. Okay, the analysis is the beautiful chassis of the Ferrari. The trading is the engine that actually moves the damn thing. So you're getting a lot of my analysis on this YouTube channel, but the trades typically are reserved for VIP members, and they had full insight into this trade days before I even entered it. And what we can see with this chart right here is basically more or less what I was sharing with VIP members. We had this, you know, area of resistance for Tron really going back for quite some time. I mean, we fell below it at the beginning of August, and you know, we managed to pump above it. You know, we managed to come back down to it after pumping up 40 days later. And what I was saying to VIP members is that this area of resistance, if we pump above it and then come back down, this can turn into one of them kind of bump and run patterns, right? It can turn into one of those patterns where yeah, you get a little bit of a breakdown, but breakout, but you come right back, you test it, you get the back test, the kiss of life, whatever you want to call it, and then you just skyrocket higher. And I'll be honest with you guys, I wasn't expecting this trade to be this successful, and I wasn't expecting it to come this quickly. But you know, I'm not going to complain. This has been very, very cool indeed. You know, I shared the details of this trade well in advance with VIP members. Here is the actual trade setup that I shared. I don't know if you can see the chart right here, but you can kind of start to get an idea of where Tron was when I shared this update with you guys. So and I actually I think I was talking about it in VIP a little bit earlier than that, but as usual, what you're getting is the full information on everything I'm doing. I'm telling you literally how I'm trading it, which leverage I'm using, where I'm entering, my stop loss, and so on. You know, and then of course giving you some you know, some of the information that I use for my own private trading journal. I'm telling you that inside of VIP as well. It is a very, very conclusive package here to see what I'm doing and why. And then of course you're continuing to get the real-time updates on how that position is playing out. So I've given quite a few updates on this position as I was taking profits. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that just kind of idly sits around when I'm making money. I do like to secure those gains. So I shared a post right here telling you guys that I've closed 25% of what was remaining in my position, you know, and then I raised my stop loss to break even. This was after the huge fucking pump up and, you know, sitting in over 60% profit. Absolutely phenomenal performance. And what's really impressive about this Tron chart is that it might not be done. You know, Tron is one of the altcoins, and this is the thing, is that, like, you know, a lot of people don't have time to look at this kind of thing. Obviously, I don't really have a whole lot else going on in my life, and that's a lie. I have a lot more going on in my life, but I've also got a team to help me with this, and this is what we do. You know, we're looking not only for, like, where can I make the money, but if things go really well, how much more upside potential is there afterwards? That's something which is really important to me. Like, yes, okay, I want to make a little bit of profit trading this, you know, back test or whatever, and it can turn into 30-40%, but can it turn into something crazy? And this Tron chart shows me that it definitely can. You see this, you know, green line of resistance right here that sits at about 0.083. What am I talking about? This line that sits at 8.3 cents. Is an area of resistance for Tron, but you know, if we are able to break above it, and we've already broken out of a bullish pattern anyway, this very long-term falling wedge that we started in 2021, we've actually broken out of it this year. You know, we're now starting to show signs that, I mean, you know, this is basically one of the last areas of resistance that Tron actually faces. So if it is able to go higher, Tron's price itself could literally double, and this is where, I mean, the numbers just get fucking crazy, because if you remember from one of the previous screenshots, I actually entered this trade with 10x leverage. So if Tron manages to pull off a 100% gain, well, I'm multiplying that gain by 10 times, which means a 1000% profit in my pocket. Quite crazy. It may not happen. I'm not expecting it to, but if it does, I'm already in my position. And that, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of money to be made if you kind of really carefully pick your shots. Like I said, I mean, you know, there are times where I don't trade that much, you know, and there are times where I'm just not that active, because I can't be. I'm not going to force trades at the same time, right? But when I'm trading, because I'm picking my shots really carefully, the result here is that I'm really not losing much money. You see, the problem that a lot of traders have in this space right now, is that they've been getting very impatient. They haven't been able to pick their shots very well, and as a result of all of that, they're actually losing more money than, you know, they would have lost if they just did nothing. Okay, and I'm sure that sounds familiar to you, because that's probably exactly what you've been doing before, or what you might be doing now, and it's certainly what I've done many times in my life already. And I say this with deep shame, because it really took me a long time to learn my lesson. I've learned my lesson now, and that's, you know, this is a really important thing to keep in mind. You know, a lot of people think, well, the more buttons I click, the more money I make. Absolutely not, bro. That is not how it works. Generally, to be honest, the more trades you make, the more money you're going to lose, because there just aren't that many amazing opportunities, you know, that are abundantly available. But I was able to find a beautiful one right here, and the upside potential is stunning. So if we are able to clear this green line, there isn't really much more resistance on this chart. You can tell, right? I mean, you know, when we cleared the green line over here, it was a straight moonshot, basically, I think, to the all-time high. You know, when we fell below it, there was nothing. When we went above it again, there, you know, just constantly this green line just is one of those kind of final frontiers, you could call it, where if we are able to get above it, it's just blast off, you know, and so that still looks like something we could be on the verge of doing. We're very close to it, by the way. We actually got rejected by that line today, you know, so this kind of puts it in perspective. Like, we're not, you know, it's not like this is a far away thing. Like, this could happen tomorrow if Bitcoin pumped as well, you know. I mean, and you know, I don't even know where it could go, but there's just not that much kind of holding Tron back at this stage. I mean, all of the profits that I made was just in a very small, you know, kind of 5, 6, 7% range or whatever. You know, it's not a gargantuan range that I've been trading, but because I'm in with a really good entry, because I'm in with, you know, my stop loss now being at break even, which, you know, I also updated you guys on, there is potentially, you know, some really cool trades to be making here, some really cool opportunities here. I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated inside of 𝗬𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗍𝗍 VIP. If you want to jump inside, then you can check it out with these steps on screen, or of course just looking in the description as well. This puts you in a direct chat with me where you can get all the information about everything, the pricing and so on. And obviously, if you guys have reached out already, you're going to know this. You know, most VIP members that join are going to get completely free access into the 𝗬𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗍𝗍 Academy course as well, which is my trading course that I put together from A to Z, telling you everything that I know about trading. So very, very cool indeed. Well worth checking out. You know, so this looks really cool. This is not the last opportunity I'm seeing here. Things are heating up again, finally, so I am very excited for what might come next. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but for now I think that it is in the altcoin market where a lot of these really nice opportunities are at the moment, and I'm going to continue to make trades on those coins on Bybit with the link in the description as well. Like I said, this is where I made my Tron trade, and you can kind of take a look at what I'm dealing with here. This was the screenshot that I took when I woke up this morning, and then a little bit later on today, I was only sitting in $10,000 profit, but later on that literally doubled. So very, very impressive gain indeed over there, and certainly something that I'm quite happy about. Now, here's something that you're going to be happy about if you're interested in Bitcoin in the long term. This is a chart that we've looked at a long time ago, and it's a very bullish chart. It's not necessarily something that's super realistic, but there might be something here. It's the same chart that I showed you guys for Tron anyway, with this chart right here. It's basically the same pattern. We managed to rise up and we formed an incredibly long-term bullish falling wedge, and this is more or less what we have with Bitcoin. We had a really strong uptrend, and now we formed an incredibly long-term bullish falling channel, descending channel, whatever you want to call it. And what's happened since our low at $15,000 is we've managed to move up back to the top of this range, and this is the first time that we've been at the top of the range since our all-time high at $69,000. Now, here's what's different. The first time we got to the top of this the first time we got to the top of this range at 69K, we only stayed there for a week at most, 2 weeks at most. We weren't there for long. This time, we've not been able to stay away from the range. You know, last time Bitcoin rapidly dropped down when we hit the top of this range. This time, Bitcoin is really holding its ground. These are the kind of things that nobody's talking about. Look, I'm not trying to convince you that Bitcoin's mega bullish or anything like that. If you think it's bearish, good for you. I don't care. But what I do want to point out is that while I've been noticing every fucking trader, every analyst, everyone who's just consistently wrong as well, while I've been noticing that all of these people have been incredibly bearish, I'm just not seeing the chart that reflects that. Now, is this because I'm in a long position as well? Yeah, for sure. I've definitely got some bias here, you know, but at the end of the market, at the end of the day, you know, I'm in a long position because I want to make money. This is where I think a lot of people trip up. A lot of people want to get in a circle and discuss Bitcoin price predictions, but they're clearly, and their actions prove this, I don't care what you say, but their actions prove this, they're clearly not that interested in actually making money. That's the difference between me and the average guy that you've been speaking to in your shitty Discord trading group. I'm interested in making money, and that means I have to be brutally realistic with myself about what these markets are doing and where they might be taking us. And what I'm seeing right now is that we're at the top of a range and we're kind of getting squeezed a little bit. You know, I mean, eventually it kind of looks like this might have to pop. Either it pops to the upside or it pops to the downside. If you think it's going to pop to the downside, we've got at least another year in this bear market potentially, because I mean, you know, it's a long way down. It's going to put us down to like $9,000, you know, and then to potentially even get out. I mean, I say a year, it could be much, much more than that, like 2 or 3 years. And I wouldn't want you to be surprised by that if it did end up happening. However, right now it does look like we are kind of in one of these, you know, windows of opportunity for Bitcoin. And we've also got another similar chart right here with this pump channel, shall we call it, where Bitcoin has consistently found support across this parallel channel and consistently found resistance across this parallel channel, stretching all the way back to 2017. That is now 6 years ago, my God. And we are now, if we drop a little bit lower, we're going to find ourselves back in this major pump zone. So, again, while everybody is calling for $9,000, $12,000, I think it's fair to say we can just wipe that shit straight off. If everyone's talking about it, it ain't going to happen. But even these more conservative price predictions of 23K, 20K, and so on, which I think are totally realistic, I think it's also worth, while we entertain those ideas, to also step back and just kind of understand that, you're right. There's a lot going for the market in terms of dropping to the upside, and that has been the case for a good number of weeks now. Yet at the same time, we're not really seeing that weakness, and we're actually seeing opportunities start to open up for Bitcoin. This might mean, with the dollar dropping, for example, so this might actually mean that there is a little bit more upside to go before the market really drops down. This is only an idea that I had right now, but how would you feel, guys? Let me know about this in the comments, especially if you're watching this video towards the end over here. How would you feel if Bitcoin did something a little bit like this? I think that would be quite typical for Bitcoin in terms of its character, in terms of its behavior. Imagine if Bitcoin went back up to the 32K level now, and imagine if Bitcoin broke the 32K level now, and it even went all the way up to, say, 38, and then crashed back down. Wouldn't that be so typical of Bitcoin? I can show you an example of when that happened just back here in 2022. We ended up setting this high right here at $45,000. We failed, came back up, we failed. And the next time, all we did was deviate above it and then just absolutely drop like a rock. And fell down towards that $20,000 area. So we've already done this before. It's actually very typical for Bitcoin to do something like that. And I'm not trying to say that this is going to happen. It's too many if statements, right? Like first, Bitcoin would have to pump up, and then Bitcoin would have to break resistance, and then it would have to get around here, and then it would have to drop back down. It's totally unrealistic. When you're trying to bunch, and this is the thing, right? Like, I want you guys to be aware of this, especially if you've made it to the end of the video. When you see people making really specific price predictions, October is going to be a bullish month for Bitcoin, but then by December there's going to be this, and this, and then January we're going to be back to normal, and then the halving and whatever. Shut the fuck up, okay? When you see people saying stuff like that, they're talking complete shit, okay? There's no fucking way that they can make such precise predictions about so many things at the same time, okay? We just can't see that far ahead. Because what this means is that, and this is the reason that it's such a stupid way to analyze, and it's the reason that these people are so dangerous. And I used to listen to these people too, so trust me, I understand. They're very convincing, and they say things that you really like to hear. Here's the thing: is that if I'm making this kind of price prediction that this must happen, I mean, look at how many variables have to fall perfectly in place just for my end prediction to be correct. It's totally unrealistic. What if we just went straight down like that? Well, then your whole fucking, idea is, just out of the window. What if we did something like this? And then, there's just too much. You can't predict that many steps in advance. You can try and be the god tier chess player that you think you are and just, predict the market in that way, but it ain't going to work. It never works. And that's why I've taken this particular trading style that I have. I'm interested in the next immediate move. When I shared that trade with VIP members, I don't care what's going to happen in the long term. All I see is that we got above this area of resistance right here. I'll show it to you on the chart nicely because that's way too blurry. All I see is that we got above this area of resistance with this green box right here. And now we're very much looking like we could come back down and test it as support. That's it. I'm not interested in what might happen to Tron if it gets all the way up to this massive price prediction of like 17 cents back up to all-time high levels and stuff like that. I don't care about that kind of thing. I'm only looking at the exact next move, and if that move takes me up to all-time highs as well, then so be it. I'm in for the ride. I'm strapped in. I got my jetpack on already. It's already fueled up. I ain't got a problem with that, but I'm not going to go wishing for that. I'm not going to go looking for it either, because in the process of looking for those big home runs, you're never going to make any money. And the guy like me who really doesn't care, isn't actually that bothered, who's quite happy to take it nice and slow and gentle, is going to make more money than you in the long term every single time. There you go, guys. I really hope you have enjoyed this video. You know exactly what to do if you have. Like I said, check out the Twitter with the link in the description down below. There is a lot that we've been posting on the Twitter page. So well worth checking it out. It's more life stuff. There's a lot of life stuff. It's a lot of me, if you like that kind of thing. So go ahead and check it out if you are interested. And of course, make sure that you take advantage of the beautiful offers available to you with the links in the description down below. The fact that Bybit is giving you up to $30,000 is crazy. That is, again, free money that you can trade with. Any profits you generate are yours to withdraw. BingX doing similar things, over $100,000 in bonuses, no KYC, and access to traditional finance markets. So you've got indices, forex, commodities. You've got individual stocks like Tesla and Apple. Very, very cool indeed, and lots of trades there that I am interested in making, some of which I've already planned out as well. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this. Go check it out if you are interested. VIP is 50% off with the links in the description, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.